Investing lessons are not a one-time thing, right? So I have done many in the past, saying what are the important investment lessons that I learned. So you can go back to the archives and see it. And please please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that whatever I make is served to you hot. Of course, you can have some cold dishes also. I have 2000 plus videos. So, what are some of the things that I've learned in the last 2-3 years? Very important, whether you're an Indian investor or an international investor, or you're a startup or you're a VC, it doesn't matter. One, don't ignore the Fed. Don't ignore the Fed. The Fed can wreak ruin on you. They've done that for last 40 years by dropping interest rates to zero or negative. And next 2 years they may just keep increasing, squeezing the hell out of other currencies in the world. So don't ignore the Fed, don't ignore RBI. You just can't afford to. Maybe they're run by inept people, maybe they're politically motivated, maybe they're politically run. Remember, Fed is a private company, not answerable to anybody. It decides on too many things. It's a horrible American structure. You can curse America, but you cannot ignore America. So what the Fed does is very important. So the Fed can hurt you, it can make you, it can kill you. They have taken us on a nice roller coaster ride, which we all enjoyed because they took the markets to great heights. All assets went up through the roof. And now when they are withdrawing, or when they are reducing or increasing the interest rates and reducing the free float of the US dollar so drastically, there is something for you to be worried about. So that is one. Second, the equations are changing a lot, and I would also be very worried if my only market was the US or my predominant market was the US. The worry is I need to diversify my markets as much as I need to diversify my suppliers. So if it is a China plus one, I would also think many companies would do US plus one or US plus Europe plus one, right? So they will need to diversify. So if you are a pharma company and you're dependent totally on the US, it's going to be a no-no for many institutional investors. They will not touch you because the risk of being over-dependent on one pampered market which prints notes as much as it wants, the risk is very high. So this was also an important learning for me in the last 2-3 years. Another important learning has definitely been that if you've been old enough to remember the 1970s and 80s, 70s especially, the inflation used to go through the roof. The US used to pay I think about 17%, 16% on their G-Secs, right? There was a time when Reliance would pay 18% interest on its bonds, right? Those were the rates. And we thought, oh my God, that is all history. Now inflation will be 2%, 3%, 4%, right? Kind of a number. Wrong, completely proved wrong. That inflation is high, it is alive, it is not dead. It may be curbed, it may go down, but you cannot say it is dead. It could keep coming back. There are various reasons for which I could do a video saying why inflation is dead, but this time we realize inflation is not dead. Another very important lesson, I've never seen this happen in 60 years of my life. Rates of inflation in the US are higher than that of India. I do not know how many of us are willing to give credit to the government and RBI for that magnificent way they restrained and did not distribute money the way US and Europe and US did, right? So therefore we have been able to keep our inflation under control, under check. So it's very important to understand all these aspects of macro also. So some of these things which I normally would neglect, right? So also especially more for startups is raise money whenever you can and the market is comfortable. Keep it in the liquid fund, doesn't matter. Cash has huge advantages, huge advantages. Exactly when you need, it's your cash which will be useful, not the money of which is lying in your VC's bank account. He'll just say, sorry, our priorities have changed. You are not in the top 10. We are going to concentrate only on 10 companies now. So you're the 11th, so I will let go of you. For you, it's your life. For your VC, it's just one more investment. So be very careful. Raise as much cash as you think you can when the going is good, because when the going is tough, even the best of companies will not be able to raise enough money, right? So keeping yourself adequately funded for cash is very important. Even if you're an investor, moving into cash when the market is high is a very, very useful thing to do, because it will hurt you, but in the long run it will pay. Look at Apple, look at Berkshire Hathaway, look at all those companies. They're sitting on cash. They know opportunities will come. So sitting on cash has its costs, has its worries, has its feeling of misery that, oh my god, I'm sitting on so much of cash. Luckily for me, January, February 2000 I was sitting on cash, so March I could buy. That is luck, because somebody would have looked at my balance sheet and said, oh my god, you're sitting on so much cash for the last 4 months, you have not earned anything. But I was adequately compensated by the jump which happened in the markets in March 2020, and I also know that was tremendous amount of luck. But at that point in time, to have cash is also maybe partially luck and partially skill. So understand all this.